What's up guys, Austin Newman here today, coming at you with yet another Adobe Premiere CC 2017 tutorial. For you vloggers out there, I've got a really cool transition for you. It's a very simple transition you get right here inside Adobe Premiere Pro without any plugins or presets of any kind. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it, but before we do, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button with post notifications on. Alright, so I'm inside Adobe Premiere Pro. I've got the two clips that I want to transition in between, and the first thing I want to do is go up to my project panel, right-click, new item, and adjustment layer. These are my settings, so that looks good. So we'll go ahead and create an adjustment layer there and lay that over our two clips. And I'm going to hit the plus on the keyboard just to zoom in. And from this middle cut here, I want to go to the left 10 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, using the left arrow key on my keyboard. I'm going to clip that at 10 frames, go down to go to this cut here, and then go over to the right 10 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me go ahead and cut that really quick. Okay, so now that we have our layer here, I'm also going to go to my effects and I'm going to look for a cross dissolve because this will help sell this effect. We're going to go right here and drop that in between these two clips. I'm going to take this cross dissolve down to about 6 frames, which seems to work well with the 10 frame transition. So now that that is in place, we want to actually create the rolling look. So let's go to the beginning of this top adjustment layer here, and under your effects, I want you to search up offset. Grab offset and drag it onto your adjustment layer over top. Now we're going to go to our effect controls panel and we're going to animate a couple of things here. Let's go ahead and set a keyframe at shift center 2. And what this is going to do essentially is going to create the same frame and duplicate it, replicate it. So now that we've set our keyframe at the beginning of this adjustment layer, let's go ahead and go to the end of this adjustment layer to the last frame. And for this, we're going to set another keyframe, and let's extend this out by 1 frame just so we can see what we're doing. Let's take the center and the left value and take that over a few frames. I'm probably going to take this to about 2000, so around there, 2300. And it'll depend on the frame that you're actually using, and it will be a little wonky sometimes. You just gotta find that one point. All right, so this looks good. This is covering my other frame underneath completely, so that is perfect. Otherwise, it's going to look a little offset, so you want to make sure that this actually is covering the frame entirely. So this looks good. Now what I want to do is with this keyframe, I'm going to go ahead and select it and then hold down Command and select this first keyframe here, right click, temporal interpolation, and we're going to go to Bezier. What that's going to do is smooth out this motion a little bit between these two keyframes rather than just being a constant value of movement. We want this to be a really clean transition. So to the left of shift center 2, you'll see this little arrow. We're going to drop this down and adjust some of these settings here. First, we want to take these little pick whips and drag them down. So let's go ahead and select this one and drag it down, and then this other one, drag it down, so you create a nice arc. What this is telling these two keyframes is that it wants to slowly start out, reach peak speed right here in the middle, and then slow into the next keyframe. I'm going to adjust these just a little bit more just to kind of really add a little bit of emphasis to the speed on this. I'm going to drag this right value in just a little bit like this, and then I'm going to drag the left value in just a little bit like this. So we create a nice little mountain here. What that's going to do is really slow into it and ease into it well. Now I'm going to clip the ending here just like this, go back to our original size, and that'll give you that look, but we want to also add a nice little motion blur to that. So since we're not using the transform effect like I've done in my previous tutorials, we actually need to go under our effects and type in directional blur. Grab directional blur and drag that onto your adjustment layer. Now let's go down to our directional blur value. Now let's go ahead and start setting some keyframes for the directional blur. At the beginning of the adjustment layer, we're going to set a keyframe for blur length, and you're going to want your direction to be 90 degrees. That way it's going horizontally and not vertically. It could be 90 or it could be -90. Either one works fine. So let's go ahead and set a keyframe for blur length right here at the beginning of this transition, and let's go in just slightly, so about right here. And this is where we want to really start seeing the blur. So set another keyframe right here, and let's go ahead and set the value to about 50, and that looks good. And now let's go in and close this out. So right about here, maybe a few frames before the ending on this second part of the transition, let's set another keyframe for the value of 50 for the blur length here. And then we're going to go to the end of this transition and set one more keyframe, and this one's going to be a 0 value. And that'll give you this look right here. But what I did differently is I also added a little sound effect, which I've linked below. You can download this. It's completely free. Go check it out on freesound.org. But basically, I just took this, I hit R on my keyboard and kind of sped this up just slightly. And then I clipped it right here, and then I clipped this beginning part just a little bit, went over here to my effects, typed in exponential fade, drag that onto the beginning of this clip to kind of ease into it. Drag that about 2 frames long in the beginning, and then close it out with another 2 frame exponential fade. I also turned it down a little bit, but that will give you this. So that's as simple as this transition is. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel for more filmmaking and editing tutorials just like this one with post notifications on. I've been Austin Newman. You can find my work on Instagram @AustinMakesFilms. And until next time, guys, we'll see you later.